Hello and welcome to the UCD Clinical Research Centre at St Vincent's University Hospital. The Clinical Research Centre is contained within the hospital's academic centre, which is the focal point for all research, education and innovation activities at the hospital. On entering the centre, visitors are greeted by the porter, and those attending the Clinical Research Centre are directed to the right. Patients are met by the research coordinator, who use their swipe card to provide access to the building for the patients. Patients and visitors are then brought to the waiting room until their appointment time. On the ground floor of the Clinical Research Centre, we have a number of interview rooms that are available for routine ambulatory patient visits. These rooms contain computers connected to the hospital information systems and have the necessary facilities for patient visits and phlebotomy. Also on the ground floor, we have a dedicated storage room for investigational medicinal product. This room, which again has restricted entry, has dedicated storage units that are temperature controlled and routinely monitored for the storage of IMP. In addition to the interview rooms on the ground floor, we have a number of administrative offices, including an office for data managers. This shared office is used by staff engaged in clinical research at the centre and is also available for external visitors from sponsor companies and organisations who are conducting monitoring visits. As the Clinical Research Centre is embedded within the hospital, all of the usual protocols for clinical care, including emergency care, are utilised within the centre. For example, we have a fully stocked hospital-grade arrest trolley. You will also note that patients can access the main corridor of the hospital from the ground floor of the Clinical Research Centre. Patients and visitors can use either the stairs or the lift to access the first floor of the centre. Again, swipe cards are required. On the first floor, we have a number of office spaces, including the major offices for our research nurses. We also have on the first floor a number of additional rooms, including filing rooms, storage rooms and archive rooms. On the first floor, we also have a dedicated procedure room that is used by investigators to complete, for example, arthroscopy examinations of patients' joints. Our procedure rooms are designed exactly as they would be in the main hospital. All of the supplies are obtained through the hospital's sterile supplies department, and all of the procedures around infection control and clinical care of the patients are adhered to. Also on the first floor, we have our recovery room where patients are brought to post-procedure. This room again is configured to hospital standards and includes all of the necessary monitoring and emergency response equipment. We also have an infusion suite on the first floor of the CRC, which is available for use for infusion studies. As we progress down the corridor on the first floor, a number of clinical suites are available. These are dedicated to specific patient groups. For example, we have a patient suite for pulmonary function testing. Further along the corridor on the first floor, we have the nurse's office and also some of the offices for our scientific staff. The large open plan nurses' office are shared by a number of different nurses. On the second floor of the Clinical Research Centre, we have dedicated laboratory space, firstly for the initial processing of biological samples collected within the centre. This laboratory contains all of the equipment necessary for immediate sample processing. We also have dedicated bioanalyzers contained within the Clinical Research Centre. For example, we have a Roche Cobas immunoassay system, an Abbott Architect and Abbott Alinity system, and a Quanterix multiplex ELISA system. All of these analyzers allow us to complete additional biomarker measurements as part of our clinical trials. The remainder of the second floor of the Clinical Research Centre includes the staff kitchen, office space for our research teams, and office space for the directorate. We also provide an office accommodation for a number of our investigators within the Clinical Research Centre, including the hosting of our Critical Care Clinical Trials Network, our Stroke Clinical Trials Network, and a number of other groups.